Like, this is another example of these grandiose infrastructure projects where we fight for a decade to try to figure out what the thing is, then we fight for another decade to try to get the funding, and then we forget to ask the community what they actually want. These are the types of issues that we need to address and really have a long-term plan citywide about how we address the infrastructure. And again, it's not about these grandiose, big rail and subway projects. It's figuring out how to increase mobility. And we have other types of vehicle sharing programs that is going to allow mobility throughout the city and doesn't require decades of waiting for some infrastructure, and then we finally figure out that we don't have the money or the community doesn't like it.
Los Angeles is a big city and shouldn't be heavy-handed with its neighbors like Beverly Hills and Santa Monica and Culver City. I've actually walked the site where the subway is proposed to go underneath Beverly Hills High School, and I don't think it's a good idea, especially because there are other options. There's an oil field, there's instability, the school wants to expand its footprint. And the issue is, and I've attended MTA meetings, especially when that item was up, the city of Los Angeles, they have 4 votes on there, and you know, they're a very powerful force to deal with. And I think in many ways, Beverly Hills was rolled over, if you will, and that money could be spent elsewhere. Lamert Park wants to have a stop on the Crenshaw line that will enhance its own travel and tourism capacity and bring new life and new revenue into that community, and people would welcome it. This fight about whether to go underneath the Beverly Hills High School rages on, still yet unresolved, and we shouldn't have to be in a deadlock like that. We need to be able to work it out. City of Los Angeles is the biggest. They should be the most forthcoming and the most gracious.
This may surprise you, I've published a position paper on this issue as well. Look, the city of Beverly Hills did and the Beverly Hills School District did a very good job of pointing out and describing the dangers and the risks that are associated with tunneling under Beverly Hills High School. I've worked for about 20 years in Century City, the Twin Towers right around there. I'm very familiar with the area, of course. We need an alternative route. The route that's just a little bit over towards Santa Monica Boulevard is an alternative. There are questions. I think the city and the school district did a very effective job of asking conflict of interest questions between the developer and the interests that decided to tunnel under Beverly Hills. It is not worth the risk, given the school, the lives that are in that school, and the nature of the gases that are under the school, and the energy and the oil. We need to find an alternative, and I know that there's one that exists, as I mentioned, near Santa Monica Boulevard.
We need a public transportation that actually goes somewhere. Yesterday, as I was taking the subway from Universal to downtown, I found it a conversation I was having in my head about where we were going to go and have this transportation system when it happened in my lifetime that I could take it to the west side. Clearly, we need a transportation system that does go down Wilshire Boulevard and connects with Century City. It is a hub where people not only are working, but are going to live. I think it is important, as mentioned, that the relationship and negotiation with the City of Beverly Hills and the school district continues to have that dialogue to ensure that everyone is safe. But I do believe that there should be a stop in Century City, and believe that the conversations, as I understood through MTA and others, are still ongoing. Because we also stopped for 20 years not doing the subway under Wilshire Boulevard because of the Ross Dress for Less explosion, and found that in fact there were ways to ensure the safety of everyone under Wilshire Boulevard. I believe that conversation should be ongoing to ensure the safety of the students, as well as ensuring we have a stop in Century City.
You know, I think all of the folks up here have highlighted something I've been speaking a lot about in my campaign, which is that Los Angeles City is the 800-pound gorilla everybody loves to hate, because we never listen to anybody. Getty House, which is where the mayor lives in the city of Los Angeles, will be a second home to the 87 other mayors of this city. In fact, 2 or 3 times a year I will open its doors for us to proactively talk about things that are happening in transportation and public safety and economic development, to say, what can we do to get out in front of this so that we don't have these problems? but also be a straight shooter on this and answer it very directly. I do support the route. I'm very optimistic that the negotiations that are going on right now between Beverly Hills and the school district can resolve the public safety issues, can resolve the transportation issues, and can solve the economic issues of getting this subway done. This is the most important public transit project we have in the city of Los Angeles. And when we stand up here and say, we need action now, but if we wait and make things go slower, then we are not being true to ourselves. We must see this get done. I support the route where it is. I know that's not a big vote winner here in Beverly Hills, but I will be a straight shooter about those issues.
I want to, you know, a few years ago, I wrote a profile in the Jewish Journal on a woman named Adina Bleich. And one of the things I remember, I interviewed her a few times, and she said, you know, she had a dream. And her dream was, she says, you know, I would love one day to have this organization where I'll be able to have, you know, forums where people who want to become mayors can come, and I'll organize it, and the whole community can come by, and we can webcast it, and all the city of LA could see it. Well, tonight is really the embodiment of her dream. And it's great to see it come to fruition. And by the way, when I did interview her, we didn't have the webcasting services that we have now, which means that everybody in Los Angeles that has the internet could have seen this debate, and I think that's incredible. And I will give you kudos as well, because I've been looking at you all night, and nobody was on their iPhone. Your attention was squarely on the candidates, and I want to give also the candidates a kudo, because I've seen a lot of commitment and passion, and I applaud this passion that you have for our great city. So, in that spirit, I want to ask a few people to stand up, the people who are on the board of directors of Civic Care. We're going to start with Adina Bleich, Mary Cohen, Aryeh Goldberg, Scott Krieger, Rabbi Zalman Kravitz, Perla Mulstein, Benny Rosenberg, Janae Root, Maya Zutler. And a major thank you to all of the people from Civic Care, especially to Rabbi Top, my good friend Rabbi Top from Beth Jacob, who wants me to tell you that Minyan tomorrow morning is 6:15 for Shacharis. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Where's Rob tonight?
We're back in the saddle.
Give him a hard time.
Do you guys mind if we just get you together? Or you are going to?
Yeah.
Great. No. Hey, I could go for another hour. That's a problem. You can go forever. Hey, so much.